Hello and welcome back to the Amazing Annoyatron. The invention we are going to be building now is called the Decision Maker. The way it works is you can ask the Decision Maker any question you like, and using its infinite superpowers, it will give you a yes or no answer. In reality, what's happening is it's generating a random number, either 0 or 1, and that determines whether the answer is yes or no. But the person you're pranking doesn't have to know that. So today I'm going to show you how you can assemble this invention and also how you can use it. So how you're going to be chatting with your brainboard. Let's get started. The first thing you will need to do is head to the Educats website and go to the project page for this invention. And chances are you're there already, and that's where you're watching this video. Great. Now, you are going to need just two parts to build this. You will need your brainboard and the USB cable that it comes with. Connect one end of the USB cable into the brainboard and the other into your computer, and you are set to get coding. On the Annoyatron invention page for the Decision Maker, scroll down until you see the code section. It says Step 1, Code Some Chaos. Like all the other projects, we are going to be selecting all the code in this sample box and copying it. Alternatively, you can just use the handy copy button in the top right corner of that box. I have clicked that, so now the code is copied to my clipboard. It's time to go to the Arduino application. Here we go. I have a new file opened, and I'm now going to select all of the text in it and delete it. Done. The last step here is to right click and paste in the code, and we're set to upload. Now, don't forget before you hit that right facing arrow to send the code to the board to select the correct port from your tools menu at the top. Select tools, port, and then the option that says Arduino Uno to make sure that the code can be sent to your board. Now it's time to upload the code, and you can do that using the arrow button. You might have to give it a name, and you can just call it the Decision Maker. I've hit save, and it should now upload to the brainboard. Wonderful. Now you won't see any kind of lights flash or any sounds come out because we haven't got a buzzer or an LED attached, but you will be able to chat to it through a special part of the app called the Serial Monitor. This is kind of like a messaging app except for your brainboard, and you can activate it using this icon in the top right of the application. It kind of looks like a magnifying glass with a dot in the middle. So click on it and a new window will open up. It says ask away in this cool big text. It says ask me a question and I will give you a yes/no answer. The way you can ask your question is by using this text box in the top left corner of the new window. You type in your question, so I can ask, will it rain today? And then I can click the send button in the top right corner to send this to the brainboard. And you can see my question comes in here, and it gives me an answer, which is no in this case. Fantastic. You can ask any question you like, and it will randomly give a yes/no answer. But as I said before, you don't have to tell the person you're pranking that. Close the window, and I'm going to show you how you can change some of the messages. Here, you can see some of the text we have in double quotation marks. You can see that we have the opening line, ask me a question, and I will give you a yes/no answer, and then a \n, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to start a new line. Then, down here, we have the answer that happens if it is saying yes, and it says I say yes. Otherwise it says serial.println, I say no. Here we go. So we can change this text. Firstly, I'm going to change the opening message to I am the Oracle. Ask me a question. Ask me a yes/no question, and I will divine the future. That's a fancy way of saying, I will predict the future if you give me a yes/no question. Perfect. I won't change the yes or no answer, But if you remember when we opened the serial monitor, there's a fancy message in big text that comes up when we open it. Now, this just doesn't come about by typing things or by, using a font, because this text is actually made up of characters. So letters, numbers, symbols that have been put together in a specific way to make the text. And you can see that when we're printing these in line by line. Now, luckily, you can create your own message in the same way using a special tool I've put together on the EduKits website. I'm going to head back to my web browser, and you can see that we have a fancy text generator. You can access this by heading to the URL edukits.co/text-art. If you hit enter, you will get to this page, and you will see we have some settings you can change. We have an option for your text, font, and copy code. And you can see we have a small preview window down below it. Where it says your text, right now it says Annoyatron, but as I backspace the text, you can see that the preview updates, and when we've got no text in the box, we've got no text in preview. I'm going to have the text Oracle, because that's what I'm saying the decision maker is in, the Oracle. I'm going to then change the font. There are heaps to choose from, but I think I will pick 3D Slanted because it's one of my favorites. You then copy the code to your clipboard using the copy code button, and you'll get a little notification saying it's copied. Now that's on your clipboard. However, before you go and delete all the text and paste in this new code, don't do that, because you are only going to get rid of the specific part of the code that prints the message at the top. So go back to the Arduino application, and let's look at what we have to delete. If you see this top line after the setup, line number 2 says serial.begin 9600. So we don't want to get rid of this line because it's beginning our communication with the computer. So that's saying we are starting to talk to the serial monitor. So we'll keep that. But the next line starts printing the characters for the ask away text. And then at line 12, we have our opening message. So everything between lines 3 and 12, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, they can go. I'm going to select all of that text and backspace it. Perfect. Now after line 2, I'm going to hit enter a few times to create some space. So if I want to change the text again, I know where it is and I don't mess anything else up. Here we go. I will right click and paste the new text in. Wonderful. And you can see it does look a bit funny here, but it's had to do some things to the text to make it display right. It'll look fine when you open it later. I'm now going to upload that to the board. Wonderful. It's uploaded. So now I will open the serial monitor. It looks great. You can change this text to whatever you like. You can use whatever font you like, copy and paste the code in and replace the bit I showed you. And you can have lots of fun with this. You might want to tell your friends or family that this is a new artificial intelligence that can predict the future. Have fun with it and let me know what you build. I'll see you in the next invention.